back here at the Columbia River in Tri-Cities, Washington. This will be the first appearance on ESPN of our second flight of boats. Now, if you will, Sam Cole, bring us the starting lineup.
In this heat, Jim, we have the Frank Kenny Toyota, the U6, driven by Ron Snyder, owned by the city of Madison, Indiana. It's a yellow, orange, and white boat. It won the opening event of the Thunderboat World Series at Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Second boat in this heat, the Executone, the U8, driven by George Johnson, owned by Bill Worcester out of Seattle, Washington. It's a blue and white boat. Number 3, the Miss Rock, KISW, the U40, owned and driven by Fred Leland. It's orange, yellow, and black. The Tempest, the U17, driven by Scott Pierce and owned by Chuck Hickling. It is a persimmon and tan boat. And the Kawaguchi Travel, the U43, driven by Will Muncie, owned by Bill Drews out of Seattle, Washington. It is red and white.
These boats made an earlier appearance here today in their first elimination heat, and it was Frank Kenny Toyota with Ron Snyder winning by a 2-second margin over the Executone, driven by George Johnson. The Miss Rock, Fred Leland, finished third. Scott Pierce and the Tempest fourth, and the Kawaguchi Special with Will Muncie driving finished overall fifth. And right now the Miss Rock was dead in the water, has just restarted on the infield. We'll have to see if she's going to be legal. Leading the crew up there in our corners number 3 and 4 is the Tempest. Now here's Frank Kenny Toyota swinging way wide. The Tempest will take the middle, and George Johnson, the Executone, will be right on the buoy line. So, and following up in there would be the Kawaguchi Special with the Miss Rock going very slow in the back chute. Here's the gun to start the race, and it's going to be Frank Kenny Toyota with Ron Snyder out in front by about 3 seconds over the Executone with George Johnson and Scott Pierce in the Tempest, owned by Chuck Hickling. As they get down to quarter number 1 for the first time, Sam.
Jim, Ron Snyder wired that start for the second time today. You know, he won this race here in 1978, and he really knows his way around the Columbia River Oval. Right now, he brings the community-owned boat out of the turn, heads up the backstretch. You know, this boat won our opening event of the Thunderboat World Series for 1983. That was the Missouri Governor's Cup Regatta. Now he's on his way here. All he has to do is keep it together here, and he'll advance to that winner-take-all final, which we'll see later on in the show.
Well, they have to keep it all together for the city of Madison, Indiana, the owners of the boat. Here's our second place boat. Coming up very fast is George Johnson in the Executone. And George is only 2 seconds off the checkered flag base. Wait a minute, Johnson's slowing down. The Executone has lost it in the engine housing. Something's let loose, and now the Tempest goes by him with Scott Pierce takes over second place. Here comes our leader to complete lap number 1. That's the Frank Kenny Toyota, driven by Ron Snyder. As we told you, the boat owned by the city of Madison, Indiana.
Snyder takes it on that. He's from Piqua, Ohio, Jim. It's a turbocharged Allison boat. Here's Fred Leland and the Miss Rock out of Seattle, Washington. He's our 4th place boat right now. Coming up on him will be Scott Pierce in Chuck Hickling's Tempest, built in Hickling's garage. Lap number 1 for the Frank Kenny Toyota, 108.271. And going for a ride, here's Will Muncie in the Kawaguchi Travel. And you know, he's the son of the late, great Bill Muncie, Jim.
And in the conventional type hydro, he's currently riding in 3rd place. Our leader is now down the back chute. Ron Snyder with about a half a straightaway lead over the Tempest, currently running in 2nd place. There's our 3rd place boat. He's riding in 2nd position, but he started late, so he officially is 3rd. Our leader now is at the corner number 3. Hangs it on the skid fin, gets a splash of water, slides sideways a little bit behind the Turbo Allisons, and brings it out off of corner number 4 to come out and complete lap number 3.
And you know, you've got to wonder, Jim, as Snyder goes down through here. Here's our 2nd place finisher. Scott Pierce has got to be wondering back there what's going to happen if something happens to Mr. Snyder. He could sneak into that final heat here today because he's got points as well. Pierce is in this boat. It was built in Chuck Hickling's garage in Seattle, Washington. The 2nd lap for the Frank Kenny Toyota, 109.924. But here's Scott Pierce, our 2nd place boat here today.
Earlier today, Scott Pierce, of course, rejoining our circuit after missing the first 6 races. And earlier today, Sam Cole had a chance to talk to the nice young man.
Scott, you're in action for the first time this year in a boat that's not always the fastest, but certainly it's always been in the money.
Yeah, it's done very well in the past. It's always very consistent. It's very well prepared by Chuck. We were hoping he was going to have his new one here for its 83 debut, but it's not quite done, so we have this one back. But I think we'll do fair today.
What about Scott Pierce? How do you size the competition that you're up against?
Well, I'm just hoping I can win the slow heats, and then I don't have to run a consolation to go into the final. And I think if I do my job, that I'll be able to pull that one off.
Our leader is Ron Snyder in the Frank Kenny Toyota. Next time he comes around, he'll come around to take the green flag. And and he's going for a Sunday ride right now. He will make the final. Being the fact that he was bumped out of the top 5 and had an average qualifying speed of over 118.6 mile an hour, which about 5 years ago was good enough to win a race. He's been bumped down to what we call the slower classification of boats, and none of them today are really that slow. But by winning this one, he'll assure himself of rounding out, be the 5th boat in the final field. Our top 4 of the 5 boats are automatically seated in the final. This one now, Frank Kenny Toyota Volvo with Ron Snyder from Piqua, Ohio driving, will move up to the final. And the winner of the consolation heat, which will be coming up very, very shortly, well, that winner will also move into the final. We'll have a 6-boat final out of the 12 boats that entered the pits here in Tri-Cities, Washington, a couple of days ago. The green flag is out. Around corner number 4 comes Ron Snyder. 1 more lap to go. A 2-mile oval here, the shortest course they've ever run in Tri-Cities. Miss Rock there currently 3rd place. That's Fred Leland in his cab over. Very, very brightly colored boat, representing a radio station out of Seattle, Washington, KISW. He comes off the corner number 4, and he'll get no green flag because he's a lap behind everybody because he had a problem at the start of this race. Our leader now is down on corner number 2, coming down the back chute for the final time. Then they'll bring that boat in, gas it up, check it out, and it'll be ready for the final later today. Our 2nd place boat just coming down here to complete the 4th lap of 5 and take the green flag. There he is, the young man we just had a chance to chat with, Scott Pierce in Chuck Hickling's Tempest.
And you know, the Frank Kenny Toyota boat has not had an engine failure all year long. They've been the most consistent boat on the tour this year. Snyder's lap speed's 102.5 the last time around.
He came close when he won the Governor's Cup Missouri because he was wiping oil off his goggles. He said if he had 1 more lap to go with that wastegate flopping, he might have had a problem.
He sure did, but right now he's going to bring it across the line as the winner and advance to our winner-take-all finale here in the Columbia Cup. Here's Ron Snyder wiping his goggles, I should say, with his gloves. Got oil all over his face, and he gave everyone a wave there at home here on ESPN.
As he takes the checker flag. Right now, our 2nd place boat is halfway down the back chute. That will be Scott Pierce in the Tempest. Our 3rd place boat is not to be seen. He's down in the water in the back chute, so 5 boats start. 3 will finish, and give us the order of finish, if you will, Sam.
Our winner will be the Frank Kenny Toyota Volvo out of Seattle, Washington. Ron Snyder, the driver. 2nd place will go to the Tempest, and Scott Pierce, very respectably. Did not finishing will be the Miss Rock and Fred Leland, the Kawaguchi Travel and Will Muncie, and the Executone and George Johnson.
More action from Tri-Cities, Washington, the Columbia Cup for unlimited hydroplanes after this.